Have you ever wondered what the difference is between working with a therapist versus a life coach? Well, if you have, in today's video, I'm going to share with you a few of the main differences so you have a better understanding of which may work better for you. Hey there, friends. Welcome back. If you are brand new here, my name is Dominique Woodward, and this channel is all about teaching you how to heal, grow, and thrive in order to live your best life. So I don't know about you, but when I first started on my own personal healing journey, I had no clue what the difference was between going to therapy versus working with a life coach. So needless to say, I spent quite a bit of time years ago researching the difference between the two. And now that I am actually a life coach, specifically trauma informed, I have a much more clear understanding. And I can't speak for everyone. I can't speak for every therapist or life coach out there, but I can speak from what I've experienced in my own journey with the therapists that I've worked with in the past, as well as the life coaches that I've worked with. So what I'm sharing today is going to be, again, based off of my own experiences, because every therapist and every life coach does things differently. But I thought that this would be a really helpful video for those of you who are still stuck on deciding if you need to work with a therapist or is it maybe a life coach. So let's jump right in to a few of the main differences. So the first difference between therapy versus life coaching is that a therapist is a licensed healthcare professional, whereas a life coach in most cases is a trained professional. So what that means is, obviously, if you are licensed, you have greater qualifications. So a therapist absolutely is going to be more on that scale. Whereas with a life coach, there's no certification or really any licensing required. But I will say, if you are looking to work with a life coach, I greatly recommend that you do your research of whoever it is that you are looking to work with. Look at their background credentials. Are they talking about different trainings and education that they are seeking or have completed in the past? Ultimately, it's just too easy for someone to call themselves a life coach, especially when licensing or certification isn't required. And when it comes to working with individuals, there's a lot of working components to create a supportive and safe space. So all I will say is do your research and make sure that you feel good and comfortable with whomever you are seeking out, whether it be working with a therapist or a life coach. The second difference I want to mention is that most of the time, a therapist is going to be someone who analyzes and diagnoses the problem, whereas a life coach provides support and guidance to move you forward. Now, as a life coach, I 100% don't cross over into analyzing or diagnosing any of my clients because that is completely out of my scope of practice. So what can be very powerful about working with a therapist is that they have the knowledge and the ability to give you a specific diagnosis. And this can be just incredibly confirming for many individuals to know that you're not crazy or broken, and to have an answer of why you are feeling the way you're feeling. So in life coaching, it's not our place to provide you with any diagnosis, but what we are there to do is to provide you with the support and guidance to overcome these blocks that you may be experiencing. And this occurs through accountability. I even have a life coach for myself that holds me accountable on the goals that I have set for myself. And this is such a powerful support system for me, because if I were to have these big goals to accomplish on my own, I would have self-doubt, imposter syndrome, my limiting beliefs and stories popping up all day long. And ultimately, they would probably hold me back from all of my dreams and desires. So, as human beings, we have these blocks that can sometimes hold us back from stepping outside of our comfort zone. So, with having a life coach, you get that support and guidance that many of the times is a great necessity for you to build a life you love. A third difference I want to share with you is that most of the time when you're working with a therapist, you're focusing on your past and the why around your challenges. Whereas working with a life coach, you're going to be focusing on the present and the future and on the how, as far as how to achieve your goals or to achieve the life you're desiring. So in my own experience working with therapists in the past, the focus was greatly on my past events and why they created the behaviors that I had at the time, or created the beliefs and the feelings that I had at that time. So my therapy was greatly focused around making sense of my past and coming to terms and coming to accept those events and realize that my events didn't determine who I was today or even who I wanted to be in my future. Now, I know it is not as simple as that when it comes to working with a therapist, but for a general breakdown, because this video could take forever if I went into more detail, but for a general breakdown, therapy does focus more so on your past, on what is keeping you stuck. Whereas with life coaching, we're going to be focusing on the present moment and your future. So we're going to focus on what we need to do to move you forward, to get you unstuck. And during this process, we're going to be working a lot on the how. So how are we going to move you forward? What are the action steps going to be? What is the support and accountability going to look like? So you're mapping out a game plan with your coach in order to bring these dreams and desires to reality. Now, a fourth difference, which I've touched on already a little bit, is that working with a therapist, the goal is to improve your overall mental well-being. Whereas working with a life coach, the goal is going to be focused on getting you unstuck. Now, as we've covered here just a few of the main differences between therapy and life coaching, I want to share with you two very important similarities. The first one being that both provide you with a safe, judgment-free space to be heard. The reason why having this safe, judgment-free space is so important is because many of us have spent years stuffing our emotions away, not having an outlet where we felt safe enough to verbalize what it is that we were feeling and experiencing. And the fear of judgment and shame and guilt was so overwhelming that we just kept it all to ourselves. And so having this safety with a therapist or a life coach provides you with an outlet for you to accomplish further healing. And number two, therapy and life coaching are both focused around supporting you to live your best life. Whether it's working with a therapist to have a greater understanding and awareness of your past experiences, or just overall improving your mental well-being by having that safety and support, or if it's through working with a life coach where we're building upon your future in order for you to look into the desires and goals that you have moving forward in your life. So I hope this comparison brought you a better understanding of the differences between therapy and life coaching. And again, I know there's so much more that goes into it. This is just a little slice of the pie, but I think that this is a great start for anyone who is really wanting to learn and understand a little bit more. And if you found this information helpful, then I want to invite you to sign up for my newsletter. The link is down below in the description. It's a bi-monthly newsletter that I send out on the first and third Monday of every month. And in this newsletter, I like to share coaching insights and tips with you in order for you to start thriving in life. Thank you so much if you've made it to the end of this video. And until next time, sending you so much healing love.